How's it going, everyone? Scott McKay here from Airbrush Down and Dirty Tricks. Going to give you a really nice quick tip on how to make a very simple, inexpensive, but yet effective paint strainer. Paint strainers are a must, especially if you've been painting for a while, if you have paints lying around for a while, or just it's actually just a really good practice to get into. But realistically, let's face it, some of our paints, will sit around for a while and they'll get this dry on top, or there might be some dry flecks inside. They might have heated and cooled a few times. It's just a good practice to get into. And straining also helps with the pigments and the paint actually kind of coalesce together better. By putting it through a strainer, especially when you add reductions or if you add in components like catalyst or 40-50 or, different mediums, mixing it in the bottle and stirring it is one thing. When it goes through a strainer, it kind of like separates it, puts it back together, and it's a really good habit to get into. As an automotive painter, we've been doing it forever. When we go to spray a car, we never just take the paint out of the cabinet, mix it up, shake it, pour it in the gun, and shoot. We always run it through a strainer. Whether it's clear coat, pearl, metallic, flakes, there's different grade strainers for different things, so you don't take up too much material, especially if you're doing like a fine flake through a fine strainer. There's different methods, but generally, straining is just a really good idea to get into. So let's talk about how to make a really quick strainer. All right, over the years, I've made quite a few strainers. I've bought some strainers. This is one I bought from a gentleman down in Brazil. It's awesome. By the time you get shipping, it's kind of killer. I did make my own version, which is all in brass, which is a brass pipe fitting, basically a collar that I bent around it and threw a screen in there and just soldered it in. It works. Takes a lot of work and time, and you got to heat it up. You got to have some tools or a torch. But these are a bunch I've made, and they all work great. The simplest one I've found that I use day in and day out is basically this guy right here, okay? All it is a brass fitting, and this is called a short forged nut. They are available from Home Depot or Lowe's or anything like that. This is the one I got from Home Depot, and there's a little QR code that'll bring you right to the exact one I'm using here. And then, basically, pipe screens. Right here, these are 3/4 inch pipe screens. They're a couple bucks. I'll put up the pricing in the description. And this, you're in for very, very short money. I'll put up a total. And the reason I like these two together is this is how simple it is. This is how simple it is to make the easiest screen. You basically take the 3/4 inch filter, or one. You can actually do two if you want to dumb them up, and you just press fit it in with your pinky like that. Push it through, and if you center it, because the thread's inside, it just locks into place. And that's it, man. That's all there is to it. Super simple, and watch how effective it works. I'm going to grab my airbrush here. I got some paint mixed up. Okay, now this came out of these bottles. And these bottles have been sitting around a while, so I know they got some chunkies in them. But the paint's still really good. So, mix it up. Do a little like this. What's nice about these strainers is they fit right on the cups of most airbrushes. That's a Takumi clips. This is a regular clips. And look, we'll just go right by hand. Pour it in. Pour it through. And now you have perfectly straight paint to spray. You're not going to have any problems. It's going to spray smooth. And if you look inside, you can see there's a bunch of dry flakes in it. I may have added to this a little bit just for the purposes of this video. And that's it, guys. Super easy, cheap, quick, and effective. That's all you need to get your paint flowing really smooth. Your paint's been mixed up right. And stay tuned for more Airbrush Down and Dirty Tricks, quick tips. Have a good one.